that.
Are we live?
Can't relate.
Dominic, it definitely works.
We live. Yo, what's up, everybody?
Are we live?
We'll give
I'm pretty sure we're
everybody
not
a few
live.
minutes to hop on, as every Instagram liver says. It's great to see you guys. We have an amazing time prepared for you guys. Yeah, I'm just gonna look at something. Give me 1 sec. Stop using. Are we live? We are live. Sarah, why don't you say hello to the people?
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Is this on?
It's on. We're live on everything right now.
Testing.
I'm just getting out
8,
people.
9, 10.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. So good to be here and around. Am I
Go ahead.
good? We're
You are
great.
good.
We're happy. Everybody's happy. I'm sleepy. Anybody else sleepy on this panel? Y'all tired? Me too. It's a tired day today.
Yes. But that's why Victoria made us coffee. That was yours?
That would have been so bad.
We got a ring.
Yeah, so we're going to have, as I am getting us to get on here. Okay, so why don't we have everybody here introduce themselves.
What?
Talking to a microphone.
Okay. What's up, everybody? Trying to find our Cultivate Vacaville live so I could see that what's going on in the chat. Are we live on Instagram? I don't feel like we're live.
Can you start the live on the Instagram?
It's just chilling.
Yeah, it's just like, hey.
Yeah, I was like, I had a feeling. I was like, normally it pops up on my phone.
Lift up the phone.
Yo, 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 yo. Here we are.
Live on the gram.
Live on the gram. We are back, fam.
Live on the gram, we are back, fam.
Yes. Am I forcing words to rhyme?
Master.
Live on the gram. Oh, that rhymes. That's good. That's approvable. Okay, cool. We are good. All right, so yes, let's actually. Oh, that hurt my spirit. All right, I like to have the lives in front of me so I can see them. Awesome. Yeah. So, like I said, welcome everybody. Dom. Okay. Music in the background. I guess very subtle. We have a wonderful 45 minutes to an hour plan for you guys. It's a relational panel. Hi, sassy. Oh, hi, this is Rebecca. My mom knows I'm on here. What's up? Hi, Rebecca. Hi, Logan. Hi, Ferris's. I almost said Logan family. Samuel, what's up? If you're in the chat, type your name in, say hello so we can shout you out. But yeah, today we're going to be, my birthday's tomorrow, so hi. We'll have a little, I guess never mind, that has nothing to do with the game. But yeah, I guess you're singing to me. Anyways.
Yes, literally
Hi,
plans the
guys.
whole thing. So you're gonna sing to me after the game, and
Anyways, so we have a wonderful panel of, it's a relationship panel, and in the context of like the power of community, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without friends, without leaders, without mentors, and you were designed to have friendships and relationships, and that's why the things that are so important, that's why the enemy attacks them the most, right? Because he's most scared of it, right? He's most scared of friendships because he knows they sharpen us for us to be who God says we are and all that. And so I have one of my best friends, which they'll introduce themselves, Landon. And I know, I didn't say the last name, so. You know, so one of the guys in my life that has helped me become the person I am today. And yeah, and we're going to answer some wild questions, play a fun game that's basically like who knows their friend the best. So that'll be pretty interesting. Is it going to be me or Landon or Sarah or Victoria? And if Bella's on here, if you're on here, let me know. But yes, so we will go with a introducing panel, starting here. Share your name and something you enjoy.
me.
Okay, wait. My name and what?
Something you enjoy doing.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, hi. My name's Victoria, and I'm Sarah's friend that she brought today. And something that I like to do is making coffee.
Yeah.
They're clapping. Hey. Yeah,
This is Landon. We
I'm Landon.
fasted for him to move here.
he's already introduced me, but I'm Landon, and something I like to do is sing Happy Birthday to Drake, and I get to do that later today. It's the highlight of my entire existence.
Yes. I'm so happy.
He's a
for you.
wonderful servant. I mean, friend.
Um,
What's your name?
Hi, I'm Emma. Hi. I'm so glad I'm here. I'm so honored. Something fun about me. There's just so much to tell. I just don't know how to shut up, I guess. That's my thing.
Okay, well, you have a gift of communication. Thanks for sharing. Emma. I thought that was their mic. I thought that was.
I literally said I just can't
I
stop.
said, give it back to Len. After she said, I can't stop shutting up. Well, you can stop now.
Yeah, you're like, actually.
So we have another youth guest today, Elijah Mendoza. He is in here. Why don't you just jump in the screen really quick, and just give us a quick hello, and scream your name.
Elijah.
And what do you like doing?
What do I like doing?
Yeah.
A lot of things.
A lot of things. All right.
Wow.
Go ahead and explain the game.
Okay, so the game today is to see which set of friends know each other better. So I.
Might need to scream. That's not good.
Oh, scream.
No, I don't think you need to scream just because it's not loud in the house doesn't mean it's not loud on the YouTube. We're good.
Great. So I think to go first, Drake and Sarah will be answering 5 questions. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. About Sarah will be answering questions about Victoria. Drake will be answering questions about Landon. It's basically the newlywed game, but long time, but long time friend game, oldly friend game. So let's get into it.
Tambry says hello to you too.
Tambry, I love you.
Tambry,
I love
we
you.
love
I think I saw you on a walk the other day. We're neighbors.
Tambry texted me the most beautiful.
Tambry, I love you. Me and Tambry are neighbors, but we never hang out.
Father's Day from Elijah, so I did appreciate that. That's fine. Okay, move on.
Father's Day is a month away. Wow. Let's get to the game.
Let's get to the game.
Okay, so I'm asking you two first. Are you ready? Right now, you're gonna write the answer.
Okay.
You guys are writing the answer. You guys are gonna write what you think is the answer.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, what is Victoria's middle name and what is Landon's middle name?
So we are writing the possible answer, and they're writing the certain answer. Okay. I'm a good screamer. Okay, it's definitely okay. This is actually tough.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Okay, so say the what are you thinking?
Ryan!
My middle name is Ryan, and Sarah is correct in her
Wow.
assumption.
Okay, so you guys get a point. Hope you're keeping track.
I had a hard time with this one.
Oh no.
I've got McDougal.
Oh,
A couple letters off. It's Robert. But close.
Take the Mick off.
Get -2.
my -2. Okay, so now you are gonna answer. Okay. Let's see. Suddenly waving security. Okay. What is Drake and Sarah's favorite restaurant? You hear that? You hear it? Or just place to eat. Are we ready? Ready?
I'm submitting my answer.
Ready? Okay, go ahead.
I said Sikasa.
Ooh.
What? Okay, context. Via Corona is a place that Sarah and I frequent together, but Sikasa is technically her favorite, but we don't go there together a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Based on all the wrappers and receipts in Drake's car. Sorry, Kirsten. I went with Popeyes.
Restaurant.
Oh, I
See-
said place to eat.
You eat there.
Okay, if I retreat. Okay. Well, what we'll do? What do we think is a restaurant? Because I just it was not fair. It's not
You
fair.
said no.
Well, no. I would have put Popeyes.
Have you
but-
worked there?
Just say it.
Is it a place you worked?
Just say it. You might already.
I feel like
know.
it. I don't know.
Just say it. You
I feel like it's Outback, no?
Outback.
Hey!
I knew you had it. I'm like, just say
That
it.
is not a point.
Your favorite place to eat is where you worked?
On Outback, they had
That's
a
why he
ribeye,
worked
22
there.
ounce ribeye bone in, half off when I worked there.
Hey,
What's up?
this is not an ad. We're not getting paid for this.
Not a paid. Wow. I'm flabbergasted. Okay. No, I don't think it works like that. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. What is Victoria and Landon's favorite subject in school? It's not specific to.
Oh, what's
Whatever.
the subject in school?
Yeah.
Are we talking like high school classes or like
High school or whatever.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
high
because,
school. Let's
like-
do high school. It gives a range.
high school? Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, he had like a freaking 3.8 GPA. Okay, 2.8. I had a 2.6, so we're fine. Okay, 2.5. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I had a 2 point. Nah, we're not gonna go into that. I want you guys to be encouraged in your classes.
All right.
Okay, so what is? Wait, are they saying first? Yeah, they're saying first.
Hello.
Wait,
My name
you,
is.
Aren't your guesses go first?
No, yeah, they're guessing
Oh.
us. Wait, no, we're guessing.
You're
No.
guessing. You guessed.
You guessed that.
Okay, you go.
Did you put your favorite subject in school on the paper?
If you did, that would've been so
I
funny.
put that she's currently studying anthropology. She's getting a degree in anthropology, but was it English?
Yes. And I am an anthropology major.
Wow. Anthropology.
Wow.
Is that the study of
Crazy.
ants? I'm gonna go ahead and say
I lost brain cells over that one. I literally lost.
I have put science.
No.
You just did a whole freaking. Okay, go ahead.
What
What
was
is
it?
it? History.
I love history too.
Close.
You don't know between each
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so that's 2 for Victoria and Sarah.
Past high school. We didn't know each other in high school. I'm moving on.
Yeah.
What's next?
Okay. So now it's your two's turn to guess. Okay, what is Drake and Sarah's, or what sports did they play in their lifetime?
Okay.
I knew that one would be easy for you.
Wait, am I choosing? Oh no, they're choosing.
He played football. Thank you.
Okay.
Point.
I literally got to. I got to food.
I am insecure about this.
Oh, who doesn't know their friend now?
Where's that history at, bro?
I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
I know. I'm ready to phone a friend. I'm ready to help you out.
You cannot phone a friend.
Oh.
You can phone a friend.
You don't want to phone a friend
I
because now
take-
you're up now.
You can phone a friend if you need to. Your friend is Bethany Ferris, though, so that's your only point of reference.
Can you help? No,
Nope.
she can't help you.
Phone a friend ain't working today, boy.
Okay, I'm just gonna take a wild guess.
Use the Holy Spirit.
Also, keep in mind that when I was in high school playing sports, Victoria was like 2 years old.
Yeah. I would like to amend that previous statement. I was not 2 years old, actually.
Oh.
She was just coming out
What
of
year
the-
did you graduate high school?
Well, when I played this sport, it was
Oh, I was in fact 3 years old.
Yes. I was in fact. Okay, so just go ahead and shoot her. Shoot it. Shoot the answer.
I'm shooting. I did.
Oh my God.
Water polo. I was gonna say swimming. I knew that there was aquatics involved, but I couldn't
Aquatics.
figure out which
I
one
was
it
trying.
was.
How
So-
many more questions?
Okay. Okay. All right. So what is Victoria and Landon's favorite music artist?
Favorite music artist?
Sarah.
Wait, are we not writing?
Are we talking solo artist or band?
There's no waiting, bro. If it ain't that, then.
Girl, I literally.
I'm pretty sure you just saw.
That's a deep friendship when he can write down what he thinks I'm gonna write.
But yet you're still losing.
Was that a hiccup? Get out.
Yeah, I'm kind of a music. I don't know. I like a lot of different kinds of music. I'm a connoisseur of.
Connoisseur, spell that? I cannot spell that. I can't. Wait, let me try. I'm not gonna
No,
try.
I actually
I-
need you to try. Otherwise, I'm not going to give my answer for this question.
Connoisseur.
Okay, that's fine.
I already know. I know one thing Landon is
I
he's,
wrote that because
Landon is very musically inclined, so he may change this. But Macklemore is 100%, if not his favorite, a constant one.
I wrote that also because I felt like you would choose that.
Yes,
Oh.
but
Point.
it's almost not. What's another one that's very close?
Undecided.
Okay, then what else?
Okay.
You guys just
Sarah?
got the point. Just take the point.
This is really hard because Victoria's literally posting a new band. Literally.
I
every
literally
day.
do that. Oh,
But
I
wrote
almost
the
put
Mamma
this.
Mia soundtrack.
I do love a good Mamma Mia soundtrack, but unfortunately, I did put Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I love Stevie Nicks more than anything on this planet. Yeah. Sarah and I have 3.
You're trailing by 1. Ow.
We're down by 1, me and Landon.
Okay. What is Victoria and Landon's?
Wait, is it?
Oh wait, no. What's their favorite show? TV show. TV.
What's my favorite TV show?
couple.
I know.
She's difficult.
Yeah.
Sarah, could you just give me a brief little mention of what season of life you're in right
Really
now?
more of
And
a
then I
safe
think this will be
decision.
able to help me answer this question.
What's your season?
I'm just going to go with my gut on this one.
Don't say it. Larry Aguilar says, turn up your mic. Sarah, love you. That's Sarah's father.
It's my dad.
Sarah's father, we always appreciate your attendance, and we love you as well.
Hi, Dad. I'm gonna yell louder. Okay.
Y'all like the Green Bay lost the NFC Championship.
At least her team made it to the playoffs.
Bro, we got Tom Brady. We got 3 Super Bowls.
Okay.
ahead of
Let's.
us.
Okay.
Moving on.
So what do we got here? So my favorite TV show is either The Simpsons or New Girl.
I said neither of those. I said Schitt's Creek and IT Crowd.
Oh my God, those are 2 of my favorite shows too.
I know.
I had.
Sarah has like 7 favorite shows. She
I had
also
those
really
two.
likes.
I had those 2 in mind.
Yeah.
When I heard it.
Bruh.
I'm so sorry.
And that one about the people on the news.
Great news.
Great
Okay,
news.
Go.
Okay.
Yo. So, mine?
Oh,
I put
no,
This
that's
Is
terrible.
Us. I went with a
I thought the
safe one
same
that I
thing.
thought you'd choose. I was gonna put 24.
No, I put Hard Knocks
Oh, that would have been
because I feel like that's funny.
Yeah, seriously,
Oh,
you've
yeah.
actually
I
mentioned
do love
All-American
those.
3 times today.
I did, but like, I was.
Literally.
That's a lot. Okay. Next one.
Okay. Wait, who's guessing? I lost
We're
track.
guessing theirs.
Okay. What is their favorite place to travel? Yeah. No.
Wait,
Yours.
my
Your favorite place to travel on your trip.
Girl, I don't go anywhere.
If you would like to travel, like what would be like your dream? There we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay, who would go with the favorite travel?
What's your favorite place to travel?
Sorry, Matt's trying to get on me right now. I'm like,
What's his favorite?
What's his favorite place to
Or
travel?
did you put like dream place?
Is
to
it
travel?
your place to travel?
I put dream place.
Oh, he's been there.
Oh, that's.
You had a favorite place here.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
I put Paris, France for Victoria.
Wow.
I also put Paris, France, and I also drew the Eiffel Tower very
I did
poorly.
not.
Oh, well.
Oh my.
Hold on. Let me connect with Abba for a moment.
Dude, you got it right. Just say it.
All right, I got Colorado.
That is correct.
Colorado.
The Rockies.
Wow, that was good. I didn't get that. I didn't get Boulder.
So you got 3, 3 and 4. Yeah. Okay. How many countries have they traveled to?
Ooh.
Lord above. Oh, no. I was going to count on my
Well, not how many times has she. Oh no, you've been to a lot of places.
Each
Okay.
place is like 1 time.
Does the United States count?
Yeah. It's like different countries.
Not every time, just how many countries they've been, just period. If that makes sense.
Oh, bro, you gotta think like one notch more. Just one notch more, bro.
Do you even know? I do. Okay. It's actually a lot less than you think.
Do 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 do. That was scary. Okay, who's up?
They have to guess first.
So,
I wrote 2.
bro, I've been to Romania. I've
1.
been to Europe for Barcelona, but
2.
I also had a honeymoon in Cabo.
The honeymoon
I
didn't
told
count.
you said one notch more. Can't lose to these guys.
I overestimated you and your travels, Sarah. I put 5, and now I see that it's 3.
It's 3. I've only been to 3 countries: Australia, New Zealand,
right.
and Mexico.
All right.
Those aren't even the ones that I thought in my
Okay.
head. I thought that you had gone to South Africa, but now I'm realizing that
Not
you
yet.
were going to go to
Yeah,
South
It
Africa.
didn't happen. COVID.
And I just assumed somewhere in Asia also.
Alrighty, how many
Okay.
more?
2 more questions.
Is it? Are we trailing by 1?
Yep.
Oh no. Okay.
All right. What?
It's about us.
Yeah. What? No, it's about them. What's their favorite ice cream?
Flappers.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna say what else would be.
Or sorbet. Whatever.
Alrighty, here we go. Oh, what's up, Peyton, on Tambry's computer?
Hmm.
Y'all chilling? What's up, Peyton? What's up, Tambry? All right,
Okay.
so let's go. What you got?
I got coffee ice cream.
Oh my gosh, I put affogato, which is
That's the same
the
thing.
same
That's
thing.
the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Same
I
thing.
feel like that's a half point.
What?
Then we're
Could-
ahead by 1.5 points. Yeah, good luck
Well,
catching up.
I got.
Girl,
I put vanilla.
That's correct.
Ava's here.
you bland little
They're
boys.
still ahead.
They're
Good
up
luck getting
by.
that half.
I feel like you
Oh
didn't
my
get
God.
it, but
I'm
you
gonna give
kind
them
of
a
did.
The stakes are high. It's coffee.
It's
the same
literally
thing.
coffee ice
You put
cream.
cream with coffee to make
So how about this?
coffee
We're
ice
just still
cream.
down
It's the
by
same thing.
1. I'll give it
Yeah,
to y'all.
yeah.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Last question.
Yeah.
This is about us.
Oh.
Are you ready?
I saw it. Oh,
What
no.
was
What?
their first job?
My first job.
Yeah. Like you got a paycheck.
Think back.
Oh,
Wait.
no. Oh,
It's
I don't
honestly.
think-
I think I've said it.
I don't think this is your first one.
I'm just going to write the person.
What you're thinking is. Okay.
It's not that. I was young. I was. I can't give any hints.
Okay.
Just think like. Okay, I can't.
No,
I can't give any
you
hints.
have
I
to-
can't give any hints.
I don't think this is right, but this is a job you had.
I think these might have both.
I hope you didn't think college.
I wrote Jamba Juice down.
Well, they were right next to the round table.
Oh. Well, that means you're.
Summer camp.
I said camp counselor. Woo!
They've got a
Alright.
lot of ones that are not actually correct. So
Girl, what?
I
You
think
still lost,
it's a
though.
tie, though.
Even
Camp
with the
counselor?
Point, even with the point
With the
ahead.
affogato, that would actually. put us
Even
in
with the
tie.
half point, you still lost.
You still
You
lost.
still, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on.
Okay. Let's.
So Sarah and I are best friends forever. Applause for our friendship.
Congrats.
I was gonna get you cash free.
Oh, thank you.
Alrighty, guys. So next, I'll let Emma lead this.
Right now, give us like a few seconds. We're gonna rearrange, get this cupcake, and we're gonna sing.
How are we gonna rearrange?
Can you just let me? Okay, thanks. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Until then, I will serenade everyone on the live.
please do.
Twinkle, twinkle,
Little star. Come on, let's go.
how I wonder what you are. Up, Well, we're gonna serenade you again really fast, so
Oh, my birthday. It's almost here.
you can hold the mic
Birthday
during this.
tomorrow.
You know?
Okay, Drake is turning 26 tomorrow. Guys, I'm going to mute it, but flood that group text with happy birthdays. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Tomorrow.
Happy almost birthday to you. Tomorrow.
Happy
Birthday, dear
Drake.
Tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you.
Woo, and many more.
And
Pick up sticks on
Scooby-Doo
channel 6.
on
Yay.
channel 2.
And Frankenstein on channel 9.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay. Now, my good friend Elijah is going to join.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate the
Joe.
chat. Thank you, YouTube. I love you guys. Yes, my birthday is tomorrow, but I am reading them, and I'm very. I see it. Malika, thank you so much. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Ferris family. Thank you, Peyton and Tambry. I love you guys. Thanks, Rebecca. So we are now going to move into the relational panel. All right, y'all, check it out. YouTube, Instagram. This is your moment to ask tough questions. If it's about your friend who's in the group chat, navigate that. I'm just kidding. That was funny. You guys missed that. That was a good one. I said, if it's about your friend that's in the group chat, just navigate that. But yeah, man, we're gonna go through some questions that were actually assembled already, and they're really good questions. So you may not even have to ask, but ask some questions. How to navigate friendships, because this is something that I don't feel like it's talked enough about in church, especially in a youth setting. That we don't talk enough about how to navigate relationships in the context of friendships. You know, best friends that hurt us, or we accidentally hurt them, or we do something that harms them, and then now there's a disconnect.
Or recognizing when a relationship becomes toxic.
Or yep, that's a huge one. Toxic, and you just feel like you're always, drained. But this is one of the most important things as a young person. There's so many proverbs about getting around the right people, because when you're around the right people, you end up in the right place. But when you're around the wrong crowd, typically you don't. And so, and navigating how to do these relationships, so they're life-giving on both ends.
And Elijah is going to be our moderator. I forgot the word. Thank you, Drake. There's another microphone just there in front of you, Joe. So let's dive right in. We don't have a ton of time, so let's go.
First question. What qualities do you look for in a friend?
Let's start with you, Landon.
Oh, with me? So the question was, qualities that I look for in a friend. I think for me, I look for somebody who I can trust, because that's kind of important in a friendship. And also somebody that is flexible / adventurous, not flexible in their body, but in the way that they plan things. I just want someone who's down to be the friend. Someone that I could be like, hey, it's 1 a.m. I want to go to In-N-Out. Let's go. Boom.
Wow.
I tend to listen to how they talk about other people. Because that, to me, is a sign of a good friend. If they talk about somebody else poorly or negatively continuously, or different people, it doesn't matter who it is, then I don't feel safe with them personally.
I'll go, and then maybe Joe can go. I guess we're all answering every question. Why not? Yeah, for me, I guess what I look for is I don't know. I'm what do I look for in a friendship? When it gets deep, I look for people that are vulnerable, that they share what's in their heart, that they're not always super, friends that just are always so surface level. You can't ever go deep in that. And so just friends that open their heart up, it's just very welcoming, and I feel like we grow a lot.
I would definitely echo that. That's my number one, is someone who's able to go deep, beyond superficiality, someone who you can be real with, who you can bare your soul with, and that's like the deepest level of friendship. Obviously, you don't dive into that right away. You got to get to know people, but you develop that trust, which was yours, all right there. And then I would also say, for me, I'm drawn to people who aren't afraid to look like an idiot. Because if you're going to be my friend, you're probably going to look like an idiot. For many reasons. I mean, just like, don't be afraid. It's okay, if you accept embarrassment as a passing thing and not a life detrimental thing, we can be chums. Because, something's going to happen.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything that everyone's saying, and I think that you guys all really hit the nail on the head with this one. But I just super agree with you guys, and I also I find a lot of my friends are very balanced people, to where it's we can go somewhere at 1 o'clock in the morning and it's going to be super fun, but also we don't need to spend every single moment together to feel like we have a really close friendship. And someone where it's if you haven't seen them for a couple weeks, you don't feel like you have to make up for lost time the next time you see them. Just someone where it's a really organic relationship, super supportive of your dreams and your goals that you want to accomplish, and someone that just backs you up. Back you up.
Could I just say something about that? Because
What's up?
very important, something what she's saying there about, because some people do feel very needy and feel like they need a lot of your time, but that there's something to be learned there about compatibility too. Because I'm an introvert by nature, but I do have friends who, one of my best friends is the polar opposite version. He is an extroverted version of me, and I get tired, but we have the trust, the ability that I'm I need to not hang out. But he also brings me out sometimes when I might not be in the mood. So, but you have to also know just how you operate, what drains you and what energizes you. And obviously, it doesn't disqualify someone from being your best friend, but as long as they have an understanding of how you operate. It's all about communication.
All about communication.
Do you mind if I say something?
Yes,
Go ahead.
All right. So a quality that I look for when I am making friends is honesty. Even if sometimes they tell you something that you may not like, if it is the truth and it's to protect you, then it is for your own good. That's pretty much all I had to say right there. Word, bro.
Really good, Elijah.
Yeah. Sometimes it might hurt if someone needs to tell you something that's true, but it can keep you, good friends can keep you from doing bad things, which is really important for a friend.
All right. What's the next question?
What are some healthy boundaries with friends?
What are some healthy boundaries with friends? What are some healthy boundaries with friends? I think I've learned this by failing. I'll tell you this. So part of my connection with Landon, we actually have a pretty cool story. We became really close friends pretty quickly. We went to Bible college together, and we went to we always went to France. but I learned that sometimes friendships can become unhealthy when you become like you need the other person. At the time when I was me and Landon were becoming friends, I lived in a house that I didn't necessarily enjoy, and I didn't really want to be there. And so I kind of viewed Landon's house. His grandma was never there. We never knew where she was. She was out. And so I was gonna say a joke that's totally crossing the line, but I was like, no. So boundary. And so I would overly hit up Landon to hang out, especially at his grandma's house, and because no one would be there. It's super chill. And really, it wasn't necessarily because I wanted to connect with him as a friend. I was actually selfish because I just wanted to get out of where I was at and just have a cool, chill, vibey time. But that may not be what he wanted. And I hated where I lived, so I was always trying to not be there. But it became like a proverb I actually read. If you're over at your friend's house too much, it actually brings a bunch of negativity. I forgot the exact word, but I was like, I wish I read this proverb a long time ago. So that actually did not help our friendship. And so I learned how to have, hey, I don't know, it's kind of like you got to communicate as friends. You don't really know, but I think for us, it was him expressing, hey, like, this is kind of like too much. And then that's vulnerable for me. I mean, he said it differently. I don't feel like he said those words. But I was just like, and just like Elijah said, it was true and it hurt, but it was something I needed to deal with, and it actually helped our friendship.
I think a large part of setting up boundaries within friendships is understanding the value, is having value for yourself. Yeah. And having value and understanding your own identity and be able to stand on your own. And it's the same for any relationship in your life. You are a whole person with or without another person in your life. That goes literally for anything. And I think you set up boundaries out of protection of your identity. You set up boundaries out of protection of your time. And yeah, that's like with what Drake kind of talked about just then, is like, or here, me and Victoria. I haven't seen Victoria in literal weeks.
Yeah,
and
2 months.
Yeah. Did I miss her? Yes. But I wasn't like obsessing over it. Like if we chatted.
More fun without me?
Yeah. Is she having more fun without me? Does she hate me now? I mean, I would text her that, but obviously I was joking. But we have boundaries in place. Like when we have a little bit more of like a mentor relationship, we had boundaries in place with that, and it was really clear and healthy, and our communication was really clear with what each other expected from the other.
And I think like because of that, like Sarah and I, we were talking about this earlier, like we're going on about like 5 years of friendship now. And because of having healthy boundaries throughout that process, we've just been able to get closer, and like our friendship has developed, and it's super fun and all that good stuff. And also like, just like healthy boundaries is I've experienced the whole teenage girl thing relatively recently in like high school and all of that. And I think in high school, and this is everyone, this isn't just like teenage girls, but that like cattiness or like feeling like someone is only hanging out with you to talk bad about someone else, or kind of taking advantage of the friendship that way, you really want to make sure that you are respecting your time and respecting where you're putting your energy. And if someone's just kind of using you to be negative the whole time, then you have the ability to be like, hey, I don't really want to talk about that. Like if you want to go hang out and do something, like that's a great time, but yeah, maybe let's not do that. But yeah.
I would say for boundaries, like I think we're talking a lot, especially right now, about like when I'm thinking so far it's been like best friends what we're talking about, but like if I'm talking more, if I'm trying to make new friends or if I'm meeting someone, I think that's where boundaries need to start the line, right? Just like any other relationship, you want people to respect your own personal values and convictions, and you don't want to compromise yourself hanging out with the wrong crowd, as we all know. But I think that the good Christian kid shouldn't hang out with people of the world? Oh, heck no. I went to public school. I was friends. A large portion of my friends were non-Christian, but my closer friends, though non-Christian, still had similar moral values that we respect each other. And then again, I still had other friends and acquaintances who I even hung out with one friend. And my mom actually was worried. She didn't want me hanging out with him because she thought he'd be a bad influence. And I told her, well, he knows where my boundaries are. Like, I let her know that he knows I'm a Christian, he knows where I stand, and he actually finds comfort in that because his home is a mess, and his mom's a raging alcoholic, and his older brother is abusive, and to his he was in a bad place, and he needed a friend. So the thing is, he knew where I stood, and so boundaries from the get-go should simply be your moral standard.
Yeah,
Totally.
That's great.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I can add to that. All very good points, children.
Yes.
I think it's like one thing to have boundaries in your mind, but like communicating them. Like if I would have communicated to Drake early on, I wouldn't have had this like pent up frustration towards him.
Yeah.
And I think like something that held me back from communicating bravely was the fear that he wouldn't want to hang out anymore because I told him no. But I think that any decision based on fear is never a good decision at all. And like if that person can't be understanding enough to realize like, hey, this person isn't 100% available all of the time, then I don't know that that's a person that you necessarily want to be around because it sounds like it might be one of those toxic ones that we might be talking about a little bit.
Yes.
Word to that.
Yes, he said a great point. Any decision out of fear is a bad decision. So sometimes we think it's wisdom. It's not. Next question. Oh, unless do you have a thought on that? Cool.
Yeah, I think I'm good with this one.
Dope. Hit us with the next one.
All right. How do you navigate through isolation?
How do you navigate isolation? So I think for me, isolation's never been a big issue for me because I'm very outgoing. But in quarantine, it's caused me to be isolated. But then again, my work, I get to come to a church with less than 10 people. But how do I deal with it? You know, one thing I do, just for me, I don't know, it's not been a big struggle. I've had different struggles in life. That's not been a major one. But I think for me is reaching out. And sometimes it's just like, I mean, practically, what have I done lately? Just call a friend, even if it's inconvenient. Just calling a friend, saying hello. I don't know. I don't feel like I have much to speak on this.
I have a little bit to speak on this. I am holding a mic, but thank you. Oh, I understand now. Okay, but I've gone through like 2 pretty significant periods of isolation, and both were for a little bit different reasons, but both were somewhat due to the fact that I was transitioning through friend groups at that time, and especially in something like high school where it's like I was a junior and everyone has like established friend groups at this point, and I was like, wow, I don't have anyone to hang out with, and I'm by myself at lunch, and it's really intimidating because like, yeah, you know people that you go to high school with, but it's not always the easiest thing to put yourself out there and be like, hey, do you want to like hang out at lunch or something? And what really like got me through that process was just like staying true to who I was and just like being kind to people, I think is the biggest thing because everybody wants to be around nice people. And I think that when you just stay true to who you are and stay true to what you value and what kind of person that you want to be, then the right people who are also doing those things will find you somehow. And it sounds so corny when you say it to someone who's like currently isolated and they're like, wow, thanks for all the help. But like it's true. It's true. It really does work and it's super helpful. And then you have like stronger relationships than you previously possibly. I'm gonna give this to you.
Yeah, no, I think Victoria made a super good point there. And what I always say, and what I will always say, is the fruits of the Spirit are the way to live life. They are the prescription for whatever you need. So what she was saying is like kindness. Literally, everybody wants to feel good about themselves. And if you are a person, why is that happening?
I got it.
Okay, we'll just fix it really quick. Sorry, Instagram. My phone's dying. So anyway, what was I saying? So everybody wants to feel good about themselves. So if you embody a person who is making people feel good about themselves, they will want to let you in. A lot of times we make the mistake that people want us in their circles because we have the hot goss. We have the tea. We have everything. Hot goss is really old. I'm so sorry. I'm dating myself. But like we have the tea. Like people think sometimes you can fall into the trap of thinking that because you have the gossip, because you have the tea, you're in the know, or you know things that other people don't know, or you have like whatever, however you want to say it. You think that you're valuable because of that, but that is not actually your value, and it's actually a sin. I'm going to speak to that right now. Gossip is a sin. And having information or being privy to information and feeling like you're valuable to other people because you have information does not make you better than anybody else. And I'm just gonna holler that out there right now, because what makes you valuable is the kingdom that you carry. What makes you valuable is who God has called you to be, and how kind you are to people, how loving you are, how gentle you are, how meek you are. It's all of those things that create and foster an environment where people want to be good, healthy friends with you.
If I could tag on to that, I won't go too much into it. I think it's all been said pretty well. But like she said, you simply do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But another important thing there is, how would you treat yourself, you know? So love yourself, man. You know, it's not a bad thing. It's not a sin. It's the foundation of how you treat others. And if you're in isolation, take care of yourself. Do things that you like to do. And, you know, read a book or play a game. Do something that builds yourself up. And then you can flow that out. Yeah. And like Drake, well, some y'all probably said it. Do reach out. Yeah. Again, I am by nature introverted, so to reach out is not like super like. It takes a lot of like, all right, we're gonna do this for me to do. But sometimes I am. I'm sitting there missing my friends. When I first moved out of high school, off where I moved away from where I was from, my entire core group of friends scattered to the wind, and I was in a new place. Yeah, I felt very isolated. And again, my core group of friends slowly were built and cultivated to a very deep level from my oldest friend, who's I'm still friends with from kindergarten, you know? And so for people like me, like to get those deep relationships that you really feel safe with and that you can be vulnerable with, it's not a quick, easy process to develop that. So I felt isolated for a long time, and I hit some depressions, but then I just knew that I was loved by God. I knew I still had friends, and every once in a while I would just get so fed up with being alone, I'd just call. And this was back in the day before texting was like the primary form of communication. I didn't even have a cell phone when I first moved from high school, so you guys know. I would actually pick up a landline, and I memorized my best friend's number, and I would call them. And maybe their mom would pick up. But no, yeah. Anyways, it takes effort sometimes if you're like me, but it's important. Do it, and even if you got like 5 minutes tops with the person, they say, hey man, I really gotta go, but it was nice hearing from you. You hang up, and man, it helps. You just feel like lit, like your day was just made, and you're riding high. And people need connection.
Yeah, and something else that I just want to touch on like super, super fast is that, because the question was like how to manage isolation. And I feel like something that kind of gets like overlooked is like feeling isolated even when you have friends. Not just like, oh, I don't feel like I have any friends, but feeling like yeah, I have like a really good group of friends, but I feel so isolated because I don't feel like they understand what I'm going through. Or I feel isolated because I'm like not sure if they actually like me. Do I irritate them every time I want to hang out? Like those feelings can be really isolating. And that's not like, if they do intentionally make you feel that way, then it's not a good friendship to have. But I know myself, like, I will have super solid friends that I've been friends with for years that I know love me and care about me, and I'll still, like, test those friendships because I'm feeling a little bit of isolation. And I really think, like, the biggest thing that you can do, like, during that time is just to, like, go to God and, like, working on, like, confidence. Because sometimes we can project fears that we're feeling inside onto the people around us, and you just isolate yourself when that happens. And so in times like that, you really just want to work on building your confidence. And like it was mentioned before, like, do things that you like to do, become more secure in yourself as a person, and that way you can be a good friend to yourself and be a good friend to others.
All right, hit it, Elijah.
When you have a falling out with a friend, what are steps you do to take to heal?
That's a great point. If you have a falling out with a friend, what steps do you take to heal? And I would even, how do you manage a falling out with a friend, right? If someone does you wrong, lies to you that you trusted, yeah, how do you deal with that? Obviously, if you be like, hey, you didn't treat me right, and they're like, yeah, because I don't feel like it, it's like, okay, this was pointless. So sometimes you'll feel the common sense to know, but I always want to go for, trying to find them. It depends on the relationship, right? If you barely know the person, maybe having a confrontation with them isn't the best because you just met them. But if it's a friend that you've had for a while, it deserves a confrontation. And we should always have a healthy confrontation where we share, hey, when you said this to us, it made me feel, hey, it really hurt me that you lied to me. And you're being vulnerable. You have to make the hard decision first. Like, you have to humble yourselves first. And I know for me, in my relationships, even with like Landon, part of our story I've shared before in our youth, where we were really close friends, and then it got to a point where we both had some rough patches and going through our own lives and our own stuff. And we had some tough conversations of like him sharing how he felt, me sharing how I felt. And it didn't even get better, really. It just kind of just like, just because it was just life was happening. But we just kept initiating it. Personally, I kept initiating it, even though it wasn't great. Every few months I'd say, hey, I'd still love to connect with you. I love you, man. It's just, we're called to love as Jesus loved, right? How does he love us? That's how as I've loved you, love others. And I think that's our first model. Because that's where we find our love. If our love is in other people's opinions of us or our friendships' opinions of us, we're going to live up and down. But if it's in Jesus' love, we can have the supply inside of us to be able to keep reaching out to friends that we really care about. So I would just say Jesus is, I'll let you go, Landon. I'm done talking.
I think one of the first things that you need to determine is if it's something that's worth fighting for. Because if you don't feel like it's something worth fighting for, like Drake had said, when he would reach out to me and I would ignore him, shade. If it wasn't something worth fighting for to him, then that would have been it. Because it's not an easy thing, this reconciliation, or even just going up and being honest. Because what if that person doesn't care? Like I've expressed to somebody like, hey, it made me feel this way when you did this, and they said, well, that's your fault for feeling that way. So like sometimes it doesn't always go picture perfect like Jesus said, but is that a relationship worth fighting for to you? Yeah. Are you going to put your value in that? Because if you don't, then it's not even worth starting because you're just going to give up.
Yeah. And also, like, I recently had like a little like tiff with someone that just kind of got blown up because we were handling it the wrong way and because we weren't going about it like with wisdom, and we kind of let emotions get the best of us in the first part. But I think like the one thing that we both did consistently throughout that whole like falling out was that we wouldn't talk bad about each other to our other friends, because we were in the same friend group. And this like one thing I feel like helped us maintain respect for each other through this thing, even though like feeling hurt and like having our feelings bruised and all of this stuff is really not a fun thing to do. Neither is like tearing someone else down because you feel bad, even if that's what they did to you in the first part. Because like just being the bigger person and like not going to, especially if you're in the same friend group, like don't go to other people and be like, oh my gosh, so and so is like so shady, I like don't even want to see her anymore, like oh my gosh, don't even hang out with her. Like it's just not helping anything. And so I feel like by maintaining respect for that person, even if you're not their biggest fan at that time, is like something that speaks to your character more than theirs also.
I would echo everything once again. Best representation of friendship, again, Jesus, yes. Was his love conditional? No.
Yeah.
Should our love be conditional? No. Should we have healthy boundaries? Yes. So I would say, again, from the beginning, is it worth the fight? Is the person worth the fight? So that's the other question. Your love for them, their value as a human being, as a creature that God put on this earth with a purpose and a destiny, should give them enough value that they deserve your respect, period.
Yes.
But the degree at which you're willing to fight for the relationship should depend on how close to your heart they are, like how far you've let them into your inner circle. And at that point, if y'all need to separate, yell at each other, separate, chill for a day, but don't let it go beyond that. The Bible also says, do not let the sun go down on your anger. So you should resolve your issues with your friends before the day's through. Don't go to bed angry. But little story from my experience. Again, one of my core group of friends is me, my twin brother, and two of our best friends. We know each other so well, and we're very different, actually. And sometimes we do get on each other's nerves, but I am a very empathetic spirit. I'm very sensitive to atmospheres, and unfortunately, one of my best friends was going through a really hard time for a very long time. And he started just getting so down and so negative that no matter how much life we tried pouring into him and how much we tried picking him up, like the enemy had this hold on his mentality of a victim. And it was making me angry and making my spirit sick, where I didn't want to be around him, but I didn't want to leave him. And so one day we're literally sitting at Taco Bell chilling, and our other friend Ethan tries cheering him up by being goofy, because that's what he does, and does something silly, knocks his Mountain Dew Baja Blast down, and there my friend goes, "There, you see, my life is completely worthless." And to be honest, I snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. And before I knew it, my hand had slid right across his face.
Oh my gosh.
Like a thunderclap. And me, my brother, our other friend, and the one I slapped were all just in dead silence. Oh, we all just kind of stared at each other for a second. Then, without saying another word, we all just started cleaning up. And we got in the car. No one said a word. We're in the same car. We're driving. Not a word. No one turned on the radio. Just, that thickness in the atmosphere they talk about that you can cut with a knife. But the whole ride, we all knew that our value for each other was too much to let that stop there. So we pull up to the house. No one gets out of the car. We still don't talk for probably another 10 minutes. I kid you not. Sat in silence until I finally spoke. I said, "David, I'm sorry. I wasn't going to out no names here, but I'm sorry that that happened. And I love you. That shouldn't have happened, but this is why it happened. I care about you, but this..." And the thing is, brave communication. Once again, when it comes to friendship, like you were saying, you need to not be afraid. If it's someone you care about and you've already entrusted into that inner part of your heart, then be brave and communicate, trusting and hoping that they trust you. You've built that level of trust that you value each other, that you can repair those things. We sat in that car for another hour or two. It was a blur, but we all started crying. And suddenly everyone started saying stuff that was on their mind. It just was an open table, and it was very healthy. And I kid you not, we've had our ups and downs, but they are still some of my tightest friends. I consider them brothers.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. Let me ask you guys a question. We are going to be at 8 o'clock, so we have like one question left, maybe two, probably just one. Do we want to do the Jesus question, or we could do, as far as like how do you introduce Jesus? We could talk about toxic relationships, or is it? So let's talk about. Go ahead. Ask the question.
Both. Double fisted, bro.
When my friends don't know Jesus or practice another religion, how can I introduce Jesus into our friendship?
That's really good. I don't know why I always repeat the question like you don't hear it. I'm going to say it one more time. I mean, it's good to hear the question twice, right? I need to hear
Let
it.
me introduce you to Jesus.
When my friends don't know Jesus or practice another religion, how can I introduce Jesus into the friendship? Again, guys, this is our last question, and then I'm going to share some cool announcement. And yeah, so for me, I've actually navigated a lot of these friendships because I've kind of I've been in a Christian bubble as far as like church work. Most of my friendships have came out of like work. BJ's, when I lived in Stockton, I worked at Starbucks for many years. I worked with Landon at Starbucks. We opened every morning with the other best friend. And part of it is we were actually going through a rough patch in our friendship throughout this time. So imagine going to work at 4 in the morning with awkward silence. I felt, what did you feel? Like an hour and a half every day. Yeah, I hated my life. How did you feel in that moment?
So mad at you.
You're so mad at me. See, brain communication, and so it didn't happen. So we were just in our own hell. But anyways, honestly, I think you actually have some really good points on this question of how to navigate friends.
How to introduce you?
Yes. How do you introduce friends to people? Shut up, Sarah. So I think for me, my answer to the question is this. Number one, it should be with your, I'm going to say mindset first. It should be with your life. Are you kind?
Yeah.
Are you showing patience?
Fruit of the Spirit.
I'm convicted. You know, are you gossiping? Are you looking to call the gold out in them? You know, first and foremost, you have the privilege to be the kindness of God to somebody. And, you know, that's the first way you can do it. You know, let it be through the demonstration of your life. That's probably the most effective way. Instagram just ended. Could you go restart it, please?
Oh, yeah,
Somebody restart Instagram.
Not it.
Sarah was like, I'm not getting up.
I'm not.
I'm surprised your phone is still alive.
Just you could share it to the story if you want. I'm cool with that. Sorry, you two, give us 1 sec. We are rebooting her.
Mary had a little lamb.
Okay.
Yeah, you do that.
Okay, we just goodbye. Delete. I don't have time for this right now. All right, so we're going live. All right, so next, yeah, are we live? We live, boy. All right, so so that's the end of my thought. Is let it be through your life, and then find opportunities to ask God what they think of them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Hey, where's your point? Ask some conversations like, what are your thoughts about Jesus? What do you believe? You know, and then share what you believe. You know, about Jesus. Yeah.
Can you repeat the question, Drake?
Yeah. When my friends don't know Jesus or practice another religion, how can I introduce Jesus into our friendship?
I think that it's by loving them well and like not loving them with an ulterior motive. Like I think that like loving somebody to invite them to church or to youth, like people can see through that. Yeah. But I think like Jesus was just like, hey, follow me. And like he loved people and led by example. And I feel like if you're doing something worth following, then people are going to go with you, because Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. Obviously, that's who we're trying to follow. And I just feel like so many times, I don't know, like we're one of the most marketed generations. Like people market to us all the time. So I feel like people can see when you're like trying to get them to do something. But what if you were just like, hey, tell me about you. Like at my previous workplace, I'm sure they're not watching. I didn't really care about, like, from a standpoint of me as a human, about like things going on in their lives necessarily, but I like made it a point to ask them questions about them to be able to love them well. So I learned a lot about Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know how to play it. I don't know anything, but I'd like go on Google and like learn facts and different things about it so I could ask informative questions because I just wanted to love them. Never invited them to church, any of that stuff, but I just wanted to be an example of what Jesus would be if he was in the place of work that I was in. And I feel like that was my way of kind of, I'm more of a long-term evangelist, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if I like, the street evangelism's cool, super easy, but like, I feel like establishing relationship and like through relationship, introducing people to Jesus, like that's kind of more my style. So yeah.
What was the? I would like.
Hold on.
Sam said if Landon had a red hat, he'd look like Mario.
Great, Sammy. Great.
That's good. Or a green one, Luigi.
Sam is not a friend I'm worth fighting for to me. Sorry, bud.
All right.
Landon, by the way, that was fire you just dropped.
That's super good.
He said he even looked up facts about people he was around just to love them well. Super awesome.
I'm going to give it to Victoria.
Oh,
She can tell my story.
I don't remember Sarah's. Oh, you mean like us?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So essentially, I totally agree with like loving people well in order to like kind of bring them to Jesus, and that's because goodbye, because that's what
When you gotta
happened
go, you gotta
to
go.
me. Okay, so essentially, Sarah and I met through work. We both worked at a flower shop together, and I was all kinds of insane. I was literally insane. I was insane. I don't have any other words for that. But essentially, she just like cared and was there for me. And if I had something that I needed to talk about, she would listen. And it's something that I like really valued was that like she would give her honest opinion and her honest input in whatever I was going to her about. And she would say like, yeah, and like what I believe and like what like Christ tells us is this. But it was so casual and so organic the way that she said it, to where it's like kind of like he was saying, where it's like not some ulterior motive, but just being genuine and being like, this is what I believe, and this is like something that I feel would help you with what you're going through. And it made me open-minded to it and like opened my heart to be able to accept what she was saying. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I've adopted and what I've done in my own life. And especially being in college, there's a lot of people that just don't want to listen about Jesus and like really kind of don't care. But I think having that position to where I was just so open about my life, in the sense where it was, I was never trying to push it on anybody, but I lived openly as a Christian, and I wasn't going to hide it from anyone either. And if anyone had any questions to ask me, is it done?
No, you're
What's going on?
just having her. No, you can stay back there. You can just do it.
I'm so confused. I'm so confused. That's okay.
There you go. Anyways, back to it. You're sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So like in college, it's a little bit more difficult to talk about Jesus with people, because it's almost like a lot of people have adopted this like anti-Christian sort of view, which is something that I've found to be very common in college. But by living super open and not shying away from answering people's questions about what I believe and always coming to people in love, I've had like multiple people ask if they could come to church with me just to see what it was about and to see like the ways that it's worked in my life. And I've always been super open about things that I've gone through and that I can relate to people with. And them seeing my healing process and me now being able to walk in victory over those things through Christ and through Jesus opens their mind to it and say like, yeah, I think that this is something that I would like to be interested in. So yeah, I think living openly and loving people regardless if you invite them and they say no, like, oh no, I never want to do that, knowing that you'll still be their friend and you'll still be there for them either way.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, all good. I would just start by saying, yeah, know what you believe, and why you believe it. And if you honestly, like, be real. It's your relationship with Christ first and foremost. And so that should be apparent in your life. It should be evident enough. And I'm not trying to shame anybody, but I do believe in a gentle conviction of the Holy Spirit. So if y'all, and I can call myself out in seasons of my life where, I've had to stop and be like, yo, I'm not sure if I am being the example of Christ, and maybe that's because I'm not making him the center of my life. But when the times of my life he really always was, again, when I was in school, I met that friend I referenced before who wasn't a Christian. My mom didn't want me hanging out with him. He was drawn to me because he knew I was a Christian, because it just was a part of my life. There was no shame in it, and there was no, I didn't have to hide it, but I wasn't shoving down anyone's faces. I'm just like, that's what I am. And it didn't have to make me weird. And if people thought I was weird, so I was weird. I was weird for a lot of things. Like I said, if you're going to be my friend, you might look like an idiot because I am weird. But get comfortable with that. Don't be afraid of rejection. If you feel in your heart that you should maybe, like, someone's on your heart that you really want to introduce them to Jesus, then there's a good chance that's the Holy Spirit saying, hey, I want to meet them. So things might already be stacked in your favor. The Holy Spirit's timing might be on it, so run with it. If they still reject, no big deal. That friend I was referencing, we were friends all the way through high school, and we had very honest discussions. He, when I first met him, was a self-professed, what is the one they don't believe? Atheist. By high school, he called himself agnostic, which means he just wasn't sure if he believed or not. But we had very real, honest conversations. And to be honest, sometimes he took digs on me and tried offending me all the time. Like, he actually made a t-shirt company. I'll try to make this quick because I know. Called RTF, Resist the Flock. And it had a sheep on a cross. And he was trying to, like, offend me. I'm like, bro, no, I love it. Can you print one for me? He's like, no, this is supposed to upset you. I'm like, why should I? Jesus was the Lamb of God. He's on a cross. That's Jesus, right? And who resists the flock more than Christ, who came and completely countercultured the entire culture of sin and death? And we had a very real conversation about it. He's like, bro, I didn't think about it like that. Sure, I'll make you a t-shirt. And again, he would take digs on me. We were in art class together. Again, naturally, when I'm doing art, Christian themes would come out because it's a part of me, And these older, seniors who were in a punk band who were cool with us all of a sudden saw that, and they were hating on me. They're like, oh, look at this little beep, 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 beep. Yeah, they were talking in, code, Morse code, if this was television.
They were robots.
And they're trying to tear me down. I really, it kind of hurt, but I was used to it also at this point. And here, this friend who I was the only reason, he only went to church once, and he was actually proud that he ever went. But the same friend, again, a friend who had light digs on me, he stood up for me. Now, that's a friend who I still pray to this day because I haven't seen him since high school. Well, once since high school. I don't know if he ever found Christ. But all I can say is I was faithful with that step, simply being Christ to him in that time, giving him a safe place, letting him know shalom and love and acceptance. And, where he is now, I pray he found Jesus. But even if you get rejected and they don't immediately come to church with you, don't stop loving them. Again, let that love be unconditional.
I think I've talked about this before, and it's pretty much just like the friend that I had that made me, or that brought me to church, that went out of his way to make sure I was able to go to youth group, that went out of his way to make sure I was comfortable in youth group, that I was learning, growing, and had good friends, and he was authentic. What this generation is crying out for is authenticity. He was who he was, and I challenged you guys to be a Daniel Cruz. He would pick me up and drive me to church every Wednesday and Sunday. My parents couldn't take me. I mean, I'm one of 5 kids. People had other things going on, and they're like, Wednesday night, driving you to youth is not a priority for us. So Daniel put it on himself to make it a priority and to make me a priority and take me to church. I owe a lot to him. And I learned a lot from him and a lot from my friends, because in school, they were like the cool kids because they were authentic. They were the skaters. They were like, and I was a part of that, suddenly brought into this world of like Christians that are cool and Christians that are not like afraid of watching The Simpsons or afraid of being something, but are still like doing their Bible studies and still living an authentic life in the world, not of it. That whole idea. And I think introducing Jesus just by being authentic to who you are and what you carry, and being proud of who you are and proud of what you carry and proud of who God's called you to be, brings people along that journey with you. It's the same thing that happened with Victoria. I was just who I was, and if I got a word from her, I wasn't afraid to tell her like, hey, I got a word for you. Or if she brought a dream to me, I'm like, here's what God's saying to you. I never hid behind, I think maybe I was authentic. I was real with her. And I'm authentic with every relationship that I have. Now, granted, there are some times where I'm like, but it depends on the relationship, I think. But yeah, I think that's how I introduce Jesus. Is I go, like Landon said, I go out of my way to know things about people, to understand what they love, like Jesus does for me.
Elijah's leaving. Any thoughts before we close? Say it real quick.
I think an important way to talk about Jesus in to another friend that might not believe or is part of another religion is getting to know what they like. Yeah. Getting to know what they like you can use that to introduce them to Jesus. I do that a lot through the Xbox. It's not always successful, but I do meet people who also believe in God, and I have met people who don't agree with me with things. I try to work out. I don't push. I don't tell them that they're gonna have to listen. I just talk about it a few times, and I just pretty much try to make them feel comfortable without me making them feel like I'm pushing them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Elijah. Alrighty, my brother. Goodbye. Everyone say goodbye on the chat. Bye, Elijah.
Bye,
We'll wrap it up.
Elijah.
We are done. Thank you guys for being here. Landon, Victoria, Joe. Yes, sorry. I'm thinking of our special guests because they're not here all the time, but I am grateful that you came. Thank you guys for being here. Sarah, myself. And we love you guys. Check it out. This is our big announcement. I'm not going to tell you the dates, but we are not going to be going to summer camp with the Jesus Culture one. Pretty sure they're going to end up canceling. We'll find out. But we are going to do, that was aggressive. We are going to actually do a fat summer camp here at the church in late July. As long as the governor doesn't tell us crazy, don't do it. Of course, we'll have procedures in place to do it. We're going to have a crazy fun time. We'll pull out the gym stage. We'll make it super affordable. And we just have a wild ideas and plans for it to utilize and just make it a very fun time to redeem the time we've lost. So, Any thoughts as we close?
We love you guys. We miss you, and we can't wait to see you.
And next week, this is our last live stream. Probably. We're going to move to Zoom. We're going to go Zoom next week. And Zoom is actually, we have a guest speaker, one of my favorite speakers. He's amazing. His name's Jordan Gonzalez. So we're gonna launch Zoom with my boy Jordan. It's going to be super dope. So catch us on Zoom next week.
This service was brought to you by Zoom.
Yes. Well, not this one. Brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. I love Outback, honestly.
And we're clear. Good night, guys. We love you. Goodbye.